The invasion begins. Admiral Zorax of the Krillian Empire stood on the command deck of the Dominion, his flagship and the pride of the Imperial fleet. His 4 eyes surveyed the tactical display with satisfaction as 9,900 warships moved into formation around him. The blue-green planet ahead grew steadily larger on the viewscreen, a primitive world that would soon become another footnote in the Empire's glorious expansion. "Another conquest for the records," Zorax remarked, his scaled skin shifting to a confident purple hue. "Tactical Officer Mev, remind me again why High Command insisted on committing nearly 10,000 vessels to subdue a species that hasn't even established a proper colony beyond their own moon." Tactical Officer Mev's antennae twitched nervously. Supreme Intelligence reports indicate unusual adaptive capabilities. "Admiral, the humans progress at rates that defy standard evolutionary models." "Adaptive capabilities," Zorax scoffed. "They communicate with radio waves. Their most advanced weapons rely on chemical propellants. Their space vessels would disintegrate if they attempted to approach our nearest outpost." "Yes, Admiral," Mev acknowledged, "but the Analytical Division has noted concerning anomalies in their technological progression curve. They advanced from primitive flight to rudimentary space exploration in less than a century." "Impressive for primates, perhaps," Zorax conceded, "but hardly cause for concern. I've conquered 32 worlds without a single defeat. This Earth will be no different." The bridge fell silent as crew members focused on their stations. The massive fleet entered the outer reaches of the solar system, stealth fields engaged to conceal their approach. According to intelligence reports, the humans had primitive detection systems that couldn't possibly identify Krillian vessels at this distance. "Sir," Communications Officer Drell suddenly called out, her voice betraying confusion, "we're detecting unusual activity in Earth's orbital zone." "Define unusual," Zorax demanded. "They appear to be repositioning their satellites and space debris. The pattern suggests." Drell hesitated. "Suggests what, officer?" "Defensive preparations, sir." Zorax's skin flickered to a troubled amber. "That's impossible. Our stealth technology is impenetrable to pre-FTL civilizations. They cannot know we're here." "Perhaps a coincidence," suggested Commander Frill, his second-in-command. "Random maintenance operations." Zorax stared at the tactical display. Something felt wrong. "Proceed with caution. Deploy the first wave of atmospheric infiltrators as planned, but maintain surveillance protocols." "Yes, Admiral." "First wave deploying now." 100 sleek Krillian ships detached from the main fleet, accelerating toward Earth. These vessels were designed specifically for atmospheric entry and initial conquest operations. Each carried 200 elite soldiers and enough firepower to level a mid-sized human city. Standard procedure for subduing primitive worlds. Show overwhelming force, accept immediate surrender. Establish imperial rule. Infiltrators entering upper atmosphere in 30 seconds, Tactical Officer Mev announced. Zorax watched with practiced detachment. He had witnessed this scene dozens of times before. Soon, the humans would understand the futility of resistance, and another world would fall to the. "Sir, infiltrators reporting guidance system failures," Mev shouted, her voice rising in pitch. "What?" Zorax's skin flashed a bright red of alarm. The tactical display told the story. The first wave of ships began spiraling erratically. Some veered off course, tumbling helplessly through space. Others plummeted toward Earth's atmosphere at dangerous angles, their hulls already glowing from friction. "Pull them back. Recall the first wave immediately," Zorax ordered. "I'm trying, sir," Drell responded frantically. "But our command channels are being jammed." "Jammed? By what?" "The humans don't possess technology capable of interfering with our quantum-encrypted communications." As if in answer to his protest, the main viewscreen flickered and displayed a simple message in perfect Krillian script. "Welcome to Earth. Please turn around." Zorax stared in disbelief. "How is this possible?" The message disappeared, replaced by the chaotic scene of the first wave's disastrous entry. Already, nearly 40 ships have been lost, either burning up in the atmosphere or spinning off into the void. Second wave standing by, Admiral, Commander Frill reported. Awaiting your command. Zorax hesitated, his tactical mind racing. This wasn't following any invasion scenario in the Imperial manual. The humans shouldn't have been able to detect them, let alone counter their first assault so effectively. Permission granted, he finally ordered, but alter their entry vectors. Approach from the dark side of the planet, away from their satellite network. The second wave of infiltrators deployed, approaching Earth from its night side. For a moment, it seemed the strategy was working. The ships maintained formation, descending smoothly toward the surface. Then it happened again. Second wave reporting the same guidance failures, Mev shouted. But they're nowhere near the satellite network. What's interfering with them? Zorax demanded. Sir, the ships are detecting unusual energy signatures from the surface. The view screen showed real-time footage from one of the infiltrators as it descended through clouds. Zorax could see the nighttime landscape of Earth below, and then he saw them. Lights, thousands upon thousands of lights arranged in complex geometric patterns across the landmasses. What am I looking at? He demanded. Science Officer Tella leaned forward, her compound eyes widening. Fascinating. The humans appear to have reconfigured their ground-based power distribution networks. They're generating electromagnetic fields that precisely counter our guidance frequencies. How could they possibly know our guidance frequencies? Zorax growled. Unknown, sir, but the precision is remarkable. They aren't just jamming us. They're actively taking control of our systems. As if to punctuate her assessment, the infiltrator whose feed they were watching suddenly veered sharply left, its thrusters firing at full power against the pilot's commands. The camera caught a glimpse of another Krillian ship nearby, similarly out of control, before both vessels collided in a spectacular explosion. Third wave reporting similar interference, Mev announced grimly. Zorax slammed a clawed hand on his console. This is impossible. No pre-FTL civilization has this level of countermeasure capability. Sir, Communications Officer Drull interrupted. We're receiving a direct transmission from the surface. It's addressed to you specifically. Zorax hesitated. Standard protocol was to ignore all communications from target species until surrender terms were being negotiated. But nothing about this invasion was following standard protocol. Put it through, he ordered. The view screen changed, showing a human female with olive skin and short gray hair wearing what appeared to be a military uniform decorated with small metal emblems. To Admiral Zorax of the Krillian Empire, she spoke, her words perfectly translated. I am General Maya Chen of Earth's Unified Defense Command. I wanted to personally welcome you to our solar system. Zorax was too shocked to maintain his usual composure. How do you know my name? How do you know our language? General Chen smiled thinly. Let's just say we've been expecting you for quite some time. Your arrival wasn't exactly subtle. That's impossible. Our stealth technology is based on masking energy signatures that pre-FTL civilizations wouldn't know to look for. Unfortunately for you, she finished for him. We've had some advance warning. Zorax's mind raced. None of this made sense. What do you want? I'm calling to offer you a chance to withdraw. We have no desire for conflict, but we are fully prepared to defend our planet. Zorax found his composure along with his pride. With all due respect, General, you are facing nearly 10,000 of the most advanced warships in the galaxy. Whatever tricks you've employed against our initial waves, you cannot hope to prevail against our full might. General Chen's expression didn't change. I understand your confidence, Admiral. It's not unjustified based on your previous conquests. But Earth is different. We are different. So I'm beginning to realize, Zorax muttered. I will be direct. We have already neutralized approximately 200 of your vessels without firing a single conventional weapon. We'd prefer not to demonstrate our actual defensive capabilities. Zorax's anger flared. Is that a threat? It's a courtesy, Chen replied calmly. One professional to another. You have never failed in a conquest, Admiral Zorax. It would be a shame to tarnish that record. Before Zorax could respond, the transmission cut off. Sir, Tactical Officer Mev reported, fourth wave is ready to launch. Zorax stared at the blue-green planet on the view screen. Something was very wrong here. The humans knew too much. They were too prepared. It was as if. Belay that order, he commanded suddenly. Hold all launches. Zorax opened a channel to Fleet Command. High Marshal Draz, requesting emergency consultation. The invasion has encountered complications. High Marshal Draz's face appeared, his expression grave. Report, Admiral. The humans were waiting for us. They knew our names, our language, our technology. They knew exactly how to counter our guidance systems. This isn't just good luck or quick thinking. They were prepared specifically for us. Draz was silent for a long moment. Your point, Admiral. Either our intelligence on them is catastrophically wrong, or they have encountered our kind before. The implications hung in the air between them. Hold position, High Marshal Draz finally ordered. I'm convening an emergency command conference. No further waves are to be launched until I give the order personally. 6 hours passed as the Krillian fleet held position. The invasion stalled before it had truly begun. Zorax paced the command deck, his skin cycling through shades of frustration and confusion. Sir, Strategic Officer Lox ventured carefully. May I speak freely? Zorax waved a hand dismissively. By all means. The traditional invasion protocol is clearly as extinct as our first 3 waves. I've been analyzing the human defensive response, and I've noticed something peculiar. They haven't attempted to destroy our remaining ships. They've disabled them, caused collisions, forced emergency landings, but they haven't outright vaporized a single vessel that didn't pose an immediate threat. Zorax stopped pacing. You think they're showing restraint? I believe they're being deliberate. They could have caused far more damage if destruction was their primary objective. Before Zorax could respond, Drell announced, incoming transmission from the command conference. Sir. The view screen displayed High Marshal Draz alongside the 5 members of the Imperial War Council. We have reached a decision, Draz stated without preamble. The invasion will proceed, but with altered tactics. You will bypass their orbital defense network and deploy ground forces directly. Once we control key strategic positions, their ability to coordinate these electronic countermeasures will be neutralized. Zorax couldn't believe what he was hearing. You want us to send troops against a species that can hijack our most advanced guidance systems from their planetary surface. Your concerns are noted, Admiral. Draz replied coldly, but our analysis suggests their capabilities are limited to electronic warfare. In direct ground combat, our forces maintain significant advantages, and this analysis comes from the same intelligence division that assured us this would be a routine conquest of a primitive species. Several council members bristled visibly. You forget yourself, Admiral Zorax, growled General Krev, commander of the ground forces. You will obey your orders or face immediate replacement. Zorax lowered his head in a gesture of submission. Of course, General. I merely wish to ensure we proceed with appropriate caution. Your caution is noted. Your 5th and 6th waves will deploy dropships to these coordinates. The view screen displayed a global map with 20 designated landing zones. Secure these areas and establish command outposts. The rest of the fleet will remain in high orbit as reinforcement. Understood, High Marshal. When do we proceed? Immediately. The turning point. Launch, Zorax ordered, his voice hollow. On the tactical display, 200 dropships detached from their carrier vessels and began their descent toward Earth. Each carried 50 elite Krillian warriors, the most feared ground combat units in 3 spiral arms of the galaxy. 10,000 warriors about to face an enemy that had already defied all expectations. Sir, Science Officer Tella called out, I'm detecting unusual energy signatures from the planet's surface, directly beneath our dropship trajectories. Zorax felt his blood run cold. Pattern. Intensity. Unlike anything in our database, the energy is oscillating between spectrums. It appears to be intensifying as our ships approach. Recall them. Recall the dropships now. But it was too late. On the view screen, bright beams of energy, shifting between colors in a way that hurt Zorax's eyes to watch, lanced upward from Earth's surface. The beams didn't explode or burn through the dropships as conventional weapons would. Instead, where they touched the Krillian vessels, the ships simply stopped. "What am I seeing?" Zorax demanded. "The dropships affected by the beams have completely lost power," Tella reported, her voice trembling with scientific fascination despite the dire circumstances. "All systems, even emergency backups, are offline. They're falling." Zorax watched in horror as dozens of dropships, now nothing more than metal coffins, plummeted toward Earth's surface. Others, attempting evasive maneuvers, collided with each other in their panic. "Impossible," he whispered. "No pre-FTL civilization has energy weapons capable of bypassing our shields and targeting specific ship systems." "Incoming transmission," Drell announced. "It's General Chen again." "Put her through," Zorax ordered immediately. General Chen's face appeared, her expression grave but not triumphant. "Admiral Zorax, I warned you. What have you done to our ships?" Chen smiled. "Is it? Then how do you explain this? Localized temporal stasis fields. Your dropships aren't destroyed. They're simply experiencing a different relationship with time. When they land, we will revive your troops." "Temporal stasis," Zorax repeated incredulously. "That's beyond even our theoretical physics." Chen's expression softened slightly. "Admiral, I'm going to be direct with you because I believe you're a reasonable officer. Earth is protected, not just by us, but by agreements and technologies you don't fully understand. This invasion was doomed before it began. If you have such power, why not simply destroy our entire fleet?" Zorax asked, genuine curiosity overriding his fear. "Because we don't want to destroy you. We want you to leave, return to your empire, and deliver a message." "What message?" "Earth is a protected world under the Galactic Concordat. Any further aggressive action will result in formal sanctions against the Krillian Empire by the Concordat Council." Zorax felt as though he'd been struck. The Galactic Concordat. That's a myth, a children's story about ancient spacefaring civilizations. Chen smiled. "Is it? Then how do you explain this?" The view screen split, showing a new vessel appearing in orbit near Earth. It was unlike anything Zorax had ever seen. Smooth, impossibly white, with no visible propulsion systems or weapons. It simply existed where moments before there had been empty space. Detecting no energy signatures from the unknown vessel, Tella reported, her voice barely above a whisper. "No radiation, no propulsion emissions, no shield harmonics. It's as if physical laws don't apply to it." "Sir," Drell called out, panic edging into her voice, "we're receiving a transmission from the unknown vessel. It's broadcasting on all frequencies simultaneously." "Let's hear it," Zorax ordered, his claws nervously tapping his armrest. A new voice filled the bridge, melodious, genderless, speaking perfect Krillian, as if it were a native tongue. "Krillian Empire vessel, this is Observer Lithara of the Galactic Concordat. You are in violation of Protected World Statute 17.3. Your presence in this system is unauthorized, and your aggressive actions constitute a Class 1 violation of Concordat law." The bridge crew looked to Zorax, but he sat frozen in his command chair. The Galactic Concordat, the mythical alliance of ancient species said to govern the galaxy from the shadows, was addressing him directly. This is Admiral Zorax of the Imperial Conquest Fleet. We were unaware of any protected status for this system. Ignorance is not recognized as a valid defense under Concordat law. Observer Lithera replied. However, as this is the Krillian Empire's first documented violation, leniency may be granted if you withdraw immediately. High Marshal Draz's voice suddenly cut in. This is High Marshal Draz, Fleet Commander. By whose authority does this Concordat claim jurisdiction over Imperial conquest operations? There was a brief pause before Observer Lithera responded. By the authority vested in the Concordat by the 12 founding species, including your own. What? Zorax gasped. The Krillian species, prior to the formation of your current empire, was among the 12 who established the original Concordat protocols 50,000 of your cycles ago. Your own genetic ancestors signed the Protected Worlds Treaty. Draz appeared on a separate screen, his face contorted with rage. This is deception. Some human trick. Look at your long-range sensors, High Marshal, Observer Lithera suggested mildly. As if on cue, Tactical Officer Mev reported, Sir, additional vessels are appearing at the edge of the system. Their design matches the first unknown ship. Current count is 17, 23, 39, and still increasing. They are not emerging from hyperspace, Tella added, her scientific curiosity overriding protocol. They are simply manifesting. Draz's rage faltered. What is the meaning of this? The Concordat takes violations of protected world status seriously, Observer Lithera explained. Earth has been under observation since your species was still confined to a single continent. Humanity is following a unique developmental path of particular interest to the Council. Your interference is not permitted. Zorax found his voice. Why were we not informed of this protected status? The question itself reveals the answer, Admiral Zorax. Species aware of Concordat protection invariably attempt to circumvent it. It is more effective to intervene only when necessary. General Chen spoke again. Admiral, High Marshal, I suggest you comply with the Observer's recommendation. The Concordat's patience is not infinite. Draz's face had lost its characteristic confidence. We will need to consult with the Supreme Emperor. You have 1 standard hour, Observer Lithera stated, after which the Concordat will take action to enforce Protected World Statute 17.3 by any means necessary. The transmission from the Concordat vessel ended, leaving General Chen on the view screen. You knew, Zorax accused. You knew about the Concordat all along. Chen nodded. For approximately 80 years after your scout ships were detected in our outer system decades ago, the observers made contact to prepare us. 80 years, Zorax repeated. That's why you were ready for us. That's how you knew our technology, our language. Yes, though I will give humanity some credit, we developed most of the countermeasures ourselves. The Concordat provided information, not technology. Their rules are quite strict about that. Zorax leaned back in his command chair, the weight of revelation pressing down on him. So this entire invasion was a test. A test your empire initiated by invading a peaceful world. Chen finished for him, her voice hardening. We would have preferred no casualties at all, Admiral. The view screen suddenly split again, showing High Marshal Draz. Admiral Zorax, you will withdraw all remaining forces immediately. The Supreme Emperor has re-evaluated our position regarding Earth. High Marshal, you are ordering a retreat. Not a retreat, Admiral. Draz insisted, his pride clearly wounded. A strategic reassessment in light of new diplomatic realities. Translation. The Krillian Empire was terrified of the Concordat and pulling out as quickly as possible. Zorax almost laughed at the transparent attempt to save face. Understood, High Marshal. We will begin withdrawal procedures immediately. Draz's image disappeared, leaving only General Chen. It seems our governments have reached an understanding, she observed. So it appears, Zorax agreed. Though I must admit, General, I find myself with many more questions than when this day began. That's the appropriate response to learning the universe is much larger and more complex than you previously believed. Chen smiled slightly. Perhaps when the Krillian Empire is ready for peaceful contact, we can have a more productive conversation. Perhaps, Zorax conceded, though I doubt I will be the one having it. Failed invasion commanders tend to have short careers in the Imperial military. Then consider a change of profession, Admiral. The Concordat is always looking for individuals who can adapt their thinking when presented with new information. Before Zorax could respond, Chen ended the transmission. For a long moment, the bridge was silent as the crew processed everything they had witnessed. "Orders, sir," Commander Vril finally asked. Zorax gazed at the blue-green planet on the view screen. "Recall all operational ships. Prepare for immediate departure from the system. And the disabled vessels, sir." Zorax hesitated. General Chen indicated they would revive our troops in the dropships. "I believe we must trust that the same courtesy will be extended to our disabled vessels." "Trust, sir?" Mev questioned incredulously. "An alien concept to the Imperial military. I know," Zorax replied, his cynicism returning, "but these are alien circumstances." As the withdrawal orders transmitted throughout the remnants of the once mighty invasion fleet, Zorax couldn't help but wonder what other protected worlds existed in the galaxy. How many other invasions had the Krillian Empire conducted against planets that might have been under Concordat protection? How long had they been blundering about the galaxy, oblivious to the watchful eyes of ancient civilizations? 3 solar days later, Zorax stood before the Imperial Court on Krillia Prime, his spectacular failure on full display. The Supreme Emperor himself presided over the tribunal, his massive form dwarfing the ornate throne. "Admiral Zorax," the Emperor rumbled, "you stand accused of incompetence leading to the loss of 1,217 Imperial vessels and 43,982 personnel. How do you plead?" Zorax stood tall, his skin a defiant blue. "I plead that the Empire has been operating in ignorance. Your Magnificence, the galaxy is not what we believed it to be." Murmurs rippled through the assembled court officials. "You speak of this, Concordat," the Emperor said dismissively. "Our scientists have examined the data you returned. They believe it to be an elaborate human deception. With respect, Your Magnificence, I was there. I saw their ships. I heard their warnings. The Concordat is real, and they claim our ancestors were founding members. Ancient myths weaponized against us," the Emperor declared. "Nothing more." Zorax took a dangerous step forward. "Then why did you order our withdrawal?" The court fell silent, shocked by his boldness. "You test my patience, Admiral," the Emperor growled. "And you test the patience of forces we do not understand," Zorax countered. "The humans were ready for us because the Concordat warned them decades ago. How many other primitive worlds might be similarly protected? How many other potential disasters await us if we continue to ignore these warnings?" The Emperor's eyes narrowed. "You suggest we abandon our divine right to conquest because of threats from an alleged higher power. I suggest we pause and reconsider our place in the galaxy," Zorax replied. "The universe is older and more complex than our Empire's philosophy acknowledges." "Enough." The Emperor rose to his full height. "Admiral Zorax, you are hereby stripped of rank and exiled to the outer colonies for your failure and your dangerous ideas." Guards moved to seize him, but Zorax stood his ground. "Your Magnificence, before you condemn me, consider this. The Concordat gave us one warning. They may not offer a second." As they led him away, Zorax caught the eye of junior science officer Rila Telis Protege. The young Krillian gave him an almost imperceptible nod. The seed had been planted. Perhaps not today, perhaps not for generations, but someday the Krillian Empire would have to face the truth. They were not alone in their conquest of the stars, and they were not nearly as powerful as they believed. And somewhere in the vast reaches of space, the observers continued their silent vigil, protecting worlds with potential, worlds like Earth, where humans look to the stars not with fear, but with hope and determination. worlds that might, in time, join the ancient Concordat and help shepherd the younger species toward a more enlightened future. As for Zorax, his journey was just beginning. The Concordat had mentioned they were always looking for those who could adapt their thinking. Perhaps exile wasn't an ending, but a new path forward, one that might, eventually, lead his people back to the wisdom their ancestors once embraced.